Listen, I think one of the biggest mistakes we make when we're choosing a mentor is we try to find someone who's perfect. Listen, there is nobody who's perfect. Maybe your dad has a horrible temper, but maybe he's great at finances. Or maybe you need to ask him, Dad, will you mentor me in the area of finances? I really feel like you got a lot of wisdom in that area, and I'd like to glean from you. You know, maybe your mom, has some issues. Maybe you hear her gossip about people sometimes, but she's super hospitable. Or great at some other aspect. Well, then ask her to mentor you in that area. Listen, none of our mentors are going to be perfect, but if we're wise, we'll look to areas of their life that they do well, and we'll benefit by learning from them in those areas. I'll tell you what. I think, too, you guys, that when it comes to maybe having a parent mentor you, be very specific. Because I think sometimes there's a tendency to be disappointed where maybe you walk up to a parent and say, will you mentor me? And, of course, they want you, so they say yes, but they don't know what you're expecting. And so maybe they don't follow up, and then you get disappointed. Listen, whoever you go to ask them to be a mentor, be very specific with them. Hey, listen, I'd love for you to be a mentor of mine. Well, sure, I'll do that. Okay, well, this is what that would look like to me. Would you be willing to take 1 hour a week or 1 hour every other week? We could go get some coffee and spend some time while I ask you some questions. And so you set those parameters out there so they know what you're expecting so that you can begin that kind of relationship and nobody's disappointed in the process. Listen, parents can be a great mentor. You also have some great people that can mentor you right here with you this weekend in the form of your youth pastors and youth leaders. How many think you have some wise youth pastors and youth leaders who can mentor you? Yeah. Get some time with them. And listen, when I say get some time with them, I'm not talking about being like a creepy Curtis or something. You're not calling them all the time, wanting to spend 5 hours a day, showing up at their house uninvited. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, don't be that guy that's calling your youth pastor at 10 o'clock at night. Hey, Pastor Ted. Hey, Curtis, how are you? What's going on? Nothing. I just wanted to hear you breathe. You poor youth pastors at the grocery store, you jump out from behind the car, like, Pastor Ted, I thought you might come here. I've been here since Tuesday waiting. Don't do that. Freak them out. There's a difference between wanting a mentor and being a stalker. Okay, two different things. Right? But listen, they'd be a great person to go up to and say, hey, listen, I really respect a lot about what I see in your life. Would you be willing to spend some time with me? Maybe we could get together for 30 minutes before or after youth group or another time and get some time where you can pour into my life. Listen, everybody needs a mentor in their life. The problem that some of us face when we talk about having a mentor is say, Mike, here's the problem. I don't like anyone telling me what to do. I can figure life out on my own. Listen, can I just be honest with you? That is a stupid mentality. Okay? It is. Listen, the truth is this. The truth is this, that Proverbs 15:22 says this. It says, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. So the Bible's telling you, saying, listen, you try to do stuff on your own, you got a much higher likelihood of failure than if you get some people to mentor your life, you're going to see greater success. Listen, if you think you don't need help in life, let me give you a concept to think about. Do you know every single champion has a coach? Every champion. You think about people that are the best in the world at what they do. Pick someone, Michael Phelps. Many people think he's the best swimmer in the world. Michael Phelps has a coach. If people that are the best in the world at what they do have a coach, how many of you think we could use a coach helping us walk through this life, right? So maybe mark that down. Maybe something very simple that can be on your action list when you leave. Finding someone that's going to mentor your life. Listen, let me ask you something this morning. Who's mentoring you? You say, Mike, nobody's mentoring me. Can I tell you something? That's why you're wrong. Somebody's mentoring you. And if you don't proactively choose someone that's going to mentor you in a positive light, by default, you're being mentored by the music you listen to, the friends you choose, the situations you put yourself in. And many of those are moving you in the opposite direction of God's word, and it's part of the reason why it's hard to stand strong as you walk through this life. So Paul had a Barnabas relationship. Paul also had what we'll just call a Silas relationship. Silas was somebody that was a friend to Paul. Probably about the same age. These guys went on missionary journeys together. They did ministry together. They hung out together. A Silas relationship is like your homies and homettes, your soul sisters, your amigos, your BFFs, whatever you want to call it. These are people that you consistently spend time with in your life. And let me just tell you something. It's very important who you choose to be your silent friendships. You know, I'll tell you what. Silent friendships are people that are going to provide a few things in your life. Silent friendships will provide accountability for you. These are people that care about you enough to have a hard conversation with you if they need to. That you walk out of a conversation, they're going to say, hey, listen, when you were gossiping about this person behind your back, man, that wasn't cool. Or hey, when you got angry and blew up at that person and said those hurtful words, man, you're better than that. I know that's not the person you want to be. Come on. These are people that are going to challenge you. It tells us in Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one friend sharpens another. Listen, if you've ever seen iron sharpened, it's two pieces of iron banging against each other. There's some friction that takes place. In a healthy relationship, there'll be some positive friction where when you're moving in the wrong direction, they're going to love you enough to help pull you back in line with what they know to be your ultimate desire about the way you want to live. Listen, silent relationships are people that are going to encourage you. People that are going to stand by you. These are the kind of people that are going to let you know that your fly is down, you know? But not in an obvious way, like 007 style, you know? They'll like walk up to you and they're like, your fly is down. Everybody needs their friends like that. Listen, a couple other things about silent relationships. Silent relationships are always going to be best same gender. Listen, I'm just going to be honest. I think it's very healthy to have friendships of the opposite gender. I just don't think that your closest relationships, the kind of silent relationships I'm talking about, they need to be same gender because it's just too hard. Listen, it'll work for a couple months. You're going to be like, we're like brothers and sisters. We're not attracted to each other at all. And then one day, there you are at youth group, singing Kumbaya. And all of a sudden, you start to look at this young lady with new eyes. You're like, Kumbaya, ya, 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 ya. You're walking up to the girl. I feel like God has called me to lay hands on you. Pray for you. I'm so praying for you. Okay, just don't do it. Silent relationships are best same gender. Another thing, your silent relationships need to be believers. Listen. I think we absolutely need to befriend people that don't know Jesus and love on them. But the closest relationships in your life had better be people that have Jesus at the center of their life. How can you walk in the same direction when the center of your life is completely opposite from that other person? Listen, if you think you're going to stand strong for Jesus, but you're going to choose relationships with people that are walking in the opposite direction, let me just save you the suspense. You won't. It's too strong of a disconnect. You've got to surround yourself with people that love God and are moving in that same direction. That you can encourage each other and help each other as you walk this out. Can I just tell you, I'm not preaching to you something that I don't do. I do this in my life every week. I have 3 guys that I meet with, and I have to get up early on Tuesday morning before work, and we all get together. And we meet, and we talk through things that are going on in our life, and they ask me tough questions. Because I want to make sure I have these silent relationships in place because I want to stand strong for God. And I can't tell you how many times I'm wrestling with something, and these guys will encourage me out of it. Or rebuke me if they need to, or pray for me, and help me stand strong. And God wants to provide that same thing for you. You say, well, Mike, I don't even know where to find a silent relationship. I don't even have one. Well, listen, here's where I want you to maybe think about friendships differently. And I hope you'll hear me on this. See, I think most of us have kind of defined our relationships by convenience. Well, Jimmy lives down the street from me, so we're friends. You know? Well, I have Sarah in math class and in science class, so we're friends. Listen, can I tell you something? Maybe it's time that instead of just letting our friendships happen to chance, we actually begin to proactively choose the people that we want to be the closest friends in our life. You say, Mike, that sounds weird. That's not weird. Listen, for the smallest things in life we're choosing. Ladies, how many of you go to the mall and you're like, I need a new pair of jeans? And so, I'm just going to pick the first pair of jeans I see on the rack and leave it to chance. Heck no. I've seen you ladies up there, you're trying on like 172 pairs of jeans. You're like, this wash isn't right. Oh, my butt's too big. Oh, yeah, back and forth. Listen. If we're that serious about being proactive about choosing a pair of jeans, how much more should we be proactive about the relationships that we choose to surround ourselves with on a consistent basis? Listen, you may need to look for them. You may need to be proactive. You might need to stop and think, who are the people that I know of in my youth group, in my school, that when I look at their walk with God, I really respect their walk with God. And I'm just going to walk up to them at lunch, or maybe on Monday when I see them and have a proactive conversation, go, listen, and there's a lot in your life that I respect. And I know you want to stand strong for God, so do I. Hey, I'd love to spend some time with you, and let's just walk this walk together. Encourage each other. Listen, that is a perfectly healthy conversation to have. And you know how many people, if you had that conversation with them, would be like, man, that's awesome, let's do it. Think about how flattered you'd be if someone came up to you and said, you know what, I really value your walk with God. There's a lot that I respect in you. I'd love to get some time with you and hang out together. You'd be like, yes, sure, okay, let's do that. Listen, you can do that same thing with someone else. Ask yourself, who are those people that you're going to put in your life, that you're going to begin to proactively surround yourself with so that they can help you stand strong, okay? But be careful when choosing your silence relationships, because if you're not careful, you may just end up with someone that wants to date your sister.